Welcome to our quarterly Chief Forum for April. Tonight we'll be profiling our first 3 months of the year from January 1st, 2025 until March 31st of 2025. So we'll be going through comparing our numbers from same time last year. We'll also be giving some investigative updates and some information on significant arrest. We'll also be talking about our gun violence dashboard update that I profiled a little bit earlier, our continued partnership with Virginia State Police. I'll be providing an update on accreditation, rolling out our service level agreement, providing some information on Peace Week from last week, and giving some additional information as it relates to our goals for the year. I want to keep those fresh in your mind so we can, at the end of the year, make sure that we hit the marks that we set forth. So, for our first slide that we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about our first quarter numbers as it relates to violent crime. So the goal for the year was for us to have a 10% reduction in violent crime. So our first quarter, as it related to our significant incidents, in particular our homicides, gunshot wounds, carjackings, things of that nature, those things that really drive media attention, things of that nature. So as you'll look at the bottom, we had a 7.9% increase over that same time as compared to last year during that time. Now, one of the things that really drove our numbers, as you will see, is our aggravated assaults and our shootings into the occupied dwellings, things of that nature. Now, in researching a lot of these, the vast majority of these seem to be stemming from domestic related issues, whether it be fights, whether it be boyfriend or girlfriend, known acquaintances, and a lot of them actually have either warrants on file or arrests have been made. So, but it still doesn't do anything as it relates to making you feel good about your numbers as you see that. But there is some bright news out of this conversation when we compare our numbers for homicides from last year to our homicides from first quarter this year. We're almost at a 70% reduction in our numbers, and that's something that for us to be happy about. Obviously, we're very sad about those individuals who lost their lives senselessly, but we are trending in the right way with those numbers being down. Again, no time to celebrate, but we want to make sure we note the progress that we are making as a city. And again, I say as a city because public safety, as we know it, involves all of us. It's not just the police department, it's everybody being involved in making our city safe. Now, when we look at our crimes as it relates to our property crimes for that same time period, you will see a 19% reduction over that time period. Our larceny from motor vehicles, namely license plates, continues to be a problem. And again, it's something that we've been dealing with since the inception of tunnel tolls, and as they continue to go up. Again, we remind people to be as vigilant as possible. Little small tricks that people sometimes do as it relates to tags is cutting decals, putting specialty screws on the license plate that make it a little bit more difficult for folks to be able to take. Most people, when the tags are taken, it's usually a Phillips or a flathead screwdriver or something of that nature. The specialty screws generally are hex or something like that. That's a little bit uncommon to your average thief. generally, if they want it bad enough, they'll, I mean, just being honest, all right? But again, good numbers for us as we trend down. We want to continue to highlight our shoplifting. A number of our vendors, store owners continue to deal with shoplifting. We continue to make arrests as it relates to that. Obviously, if any of you have gone to our local Walmart, you'll walk in and see that you pretty much need help to get anything out of there at this point. Understand, sad to see, but understand when you have a $4 million shrink, you have to do something to safeguard your property. That is one of the things that they've done. But also one of the things that we recommend to our store owners is called crime prevention by design. And so when you walk into an establishment, some of those items that are frequently taken or high dollar items, we recommend that you don't put them directly by the door, that they're enticing folks to be able to walk in and walk right back out with. Our QR code initiative that we instituted at the beginning of the year has really started to pay some dividends for us, and we're getting a lot of good feedback from that initiative as we continue to expand it. And we do attribute that to helping us with the visibility and being able to control some of that as it relates to our larcenies. So our overall numbers right now for the first quarter, as we are at a 15% reduction in total crime as it relates to this time period. Again, we're trending down, and that's positive, but we definitely want to focus specifically on our violent incidents and some of our other ones that continue to plague us, our aggravated assaults. We've had a number of situations that have occurred, and I know one of the ones that people most recently talked about is the situation that occurred at the food line. Unfortunately, two gentlemen were in the food line on London Boulevard, got into a altercation. One individual pulled a knife, the other individual pulled a gun, and subsequently shot the gentleman in foot. And that's the story. Unfortunately, it happened in one of our grocery stores. Thank God nobody else was struck. But that conflict resolution continues to be one of the situations that plague us. And we urge individuals to find other ways to resolve their issues before moving to weapons. But again, let's be mindful that people do have the right to defend themselves. And again, if you pull a knife and the person pulls a gun, I think we all have heard that adage before. So year to date, if we stopped our crime numbers, if we ended as of April the 19th, we would be representing the overall crime reduction of 18.4%. And again, our overall reduction is 20%. So we're going to continue to press on as we look to hit that benchmark of a 20% reduction. If you remember last year, we had a decent reduction, and the year before that, we had about a 4% reduction. So if we continue to add these numbers, we will be approaching about a 40% reduction in crime if our numbers continue to trend downward. So all things positive for Portsmouth. Now, one of the things that I think is important to highlight is when people think about numbers versus feeling, it's about how people feel. Do you feel safe? One of the things that I see oftentimes on social media in particular is when we are all members of these individual groups. If I had, just like we had a group of kids the other night walking around, pulling door handles, breaking into people's cars. Luckily, our patrol folks were able to capture at least one of those individuals, and we did put some information out that if you were a victim, to make sure you contacted us. But we thought that was important so that you knew not only the information that you put out, that citizen put out showing that this was going on, but we saw that information and were able to get officers there and actually capture somebody. So it is very helpful. But I also want to point out the other side of that is, if an individual is a victim of crime and they post that on social media, even if I live on the other side of the city, that crime, I feel like, affects me, and it's crime all the time. It's almost a sensory overload because we're always posting, we're always seeing about incidents. And so it's important for me, and it's important for the department to make sure that we put out information so that you are aware of what we are doing to combat crime, but also how you can assist us in making sure we get the information to you and from you. Now, a couple of significant incidents that I wanted to highlight to you. In February 13th of this year, we had about 4 burglaries into several of our ABC establishments. Through some actions of our uniform patrol and through the utilization of our flock cameras and the cameras that were there, we were able to identify a suspect and subsequently stop that vehicle and the suspect that was associated. And we were able to charge that individual with at least one of those burglaries. We did have a homicide arrest out in the 6700 block of Kenny Lane. Unfortunately, this one here really hit home for us. This was the daughter of one of our homicide detectives who was murdered in Portsmouth. We were able to make an arrest, and that is going to be adjudicated through the courts. The next one, many of you may have seen on Facebook. It was the gentleman that was standing at the counter. We had 2 individuals walk in behind him. One individual began to assault him. He ended up pulling a weapon and shooting both of those individuals. We were able to not only locate that individual, that as a result of the video and information from the public, but subsequently additional individuals were also arrested on non-related charges, along with a number of firearms that were taken from the residents. Luckily, the individuals came out without incident, and it didn't turn into a full-blown event. But we have charged Mr. Avery, and he is currently, I believe, still in custody. Incident at 2900 block of Arcadia, 2904, where we had a number of individuals shot. This was a robbery attempt where individuals went into the house with the intentions of robbing the individuals in the house. Some of those individuals actually returned fire, defending themselves. And one of the individuals that was an assailant was actually shot and killed. And so, again, based on law and the way that it is written, 2 individuals that go into a establishment who are complicit in that act, and an individual somehow loses their life, that person is as responsible as if they pulled the trigger themselves. So again, that will be adjudicated through the court system. 505 Cumberland Avenue, a gentleman was found deceased, suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. Through the utilization of video partnership with neighbors who were able to assist us, detectives were able to identify 2 suspects and make arrest on that. Another significant incident, this one is an arrest that took place, a sentencing that took place where this individual got 30 years as a result of a homicide that took place in 2022. Mr. Jerry Van Port was arrested and charged with murder, use of a firearm, commission of a felony, firearm by felon, and several other charges. And he received that sentence on March 25th, 2025. Some other notable arrests, and this is related to our efforts by our Special Investigations Unit. Those individuals are narcotics, vice narcotics. They do fugitive apprehension, assist with gang investigations and things of that nature. A couple of these, one of significant that I want to highlight. So we've been partnering very much with probation and parole with actively doing warrant sweeps throughout the city to make sure that we try to get as many of the individuals who actually have outstanding warrants off our streets and those arrests cleared. The individual from March 27th, Mr. Jefferson, Tyrone K. Jefferson Perry, this individual was wanted on 4 bank robberies that he had done throughout Hampton Roads. The most recent one that he did was in the city of Smithfield. Our fugitive apprehension unit was able to locate this individual in our city and was able to arrest him. And so, again, just kudos to them for their hard work, the partnerships that they have with their other federal partners for assistance and our sister cities with being able to locate these individuals. In total, for that time frame, they were able to arrest, and we're not talking about a large group of people. We're talking about a group of about 8 individuals who really hit the ground running and are hard chargers. They were able to arrest 36 individuals. They served 86 outstanding warrants, recovered 14 firearms, 12.6 grams of crack cocaine, 2 grams of fentanyl, 3 kilograms of cocaine. They seized 13,000. And while they're doing all of this, these are the same individuals that do all of our transports across the country. So if we get a fugitive that is in Lexington, North Carolina, or in Tennessee, or Elizabeth City, or Carmen, PA, they're either driving or flying to bring these folks back and forth. So again, just kudos to them for their efforts in making sure that we do the things necessary to keep our streets safe. So we've profiled this a couple of times, and I want to continue to shout out the state police for their continued efforts in partnering with us. They were with us during the month of March for was it 2 weeks, 2-week time frame, where they assisted us with the Operation Bold Blue Line. This will be an ongoing effort. We hope to have them again before the summer and then again during the summer. When they're here, there's obviously a lot of anticipation, not just from our folks who are partnering with them, but our citizens know that they're here because they're in the city. Obviously, they've really increased their efforts with their enforcement on our interstates, but to see them in the city riding with our officers is really a good partnership. Educational points for not only us, but for them, because our mandates are similar but different. So talked about a dashboard, and this dashboard that I talked about was information that we wanted to be able to not only provide to the citizens, but also to be able to follow where our gun victims, things of that nature were happening. So one of the things that we began to put together, and this is, we expect this to be put out in the May 1st, is for us to be able to track not only neighborhoods where our gun violence is happening, but how many days it's been since a particular neighborhood has or has not had any gun violence, where it's happening, time of day. One of the things that you'll note on this, that it appears that Sunday for us is like one of the most violent days of the week. And again, these are numbers that come directly from our CAD system. When officers do reports, this is not something that a human necessarily generates. Obviously, there are algorithms and all that other stuff that go into being able to generate this report. But I thought it was important that also when we talk about our neighborhoods, that we do celebrate that when we have a neighborhood that goes, 200 or 300 days without an incident. I think it's important for us to highlight those milestones because, sometimes people feel like, people are getting shot every single day. Well, that's not the reality. And we wanted to be able to put that information out there. Now, we did add, Mr. Hugo, we did add a tracker for us to be able to track how many guns are stolen out of vehicles. So that is added. This also will be added to that gun violence dashboard. And again, you will be able to go on and manipulate this information to be able to see the data as real time as possible as it occurs. So our plan is to have this at the very least on the police department website and maybe on the city website. So CALEA, we've been talking about accreditation for quite some time. And this has been a long process for us. I'm not going to talk a lot about it, but I will talk to you about where we are as of this point. So CALEA is the national certifying board for us, not just nationally, but internationally. And as a police department, for as long as I've been here, we have talked about becoming accredited. Accreditation, what that means is that you are utilizing best practices set forth by this board that says that your policies are in line, that limits not only your liability, increases your performance, accountability to your community, things of that nature. So I'm pleased to say that we are in our final stages of completing our on-site assessment. We have an assessor here from Columbus, Ohio, who's been here since Monday. And I want to kind of put this in context for you. So there are about 18,000 police departments in the United States. Of those 18,000, less than 1,000 of them are CALEA certified. In the state of Virginia, there are about 400 police sheriff departments in the state of Virginia. Of those, there are about 58 that are CALEA certified. So again, this is a huge milestone for us as a police department, not just for us to get there, but for us to be able to continue to build on the foundation of making sure that we are doing not only what's best for our employees, but more importantly, what's best for the citizens as we work to make this the best department in the state. And again, I continue to say that. I want to keep drumming that into everyone's ears so that we understand what the ultimate goal for us is, to make this a safe community, make this police department one that you're proud of, and make this the preeminent department that people want to come and work for. And so this is one of our steps towards becoming that department which we always have known we could be. So we'll make sure we invite you to the parade when we get accredited. Service level agreement. So for one of the things that the city manager wanted us to put together was a service level agreement. Some people say, what is that? Well, it's definitely a foreign to municipal government. It is something that you see a lot in businesses, but not so much in municipal government. And so just like most people, when he first talked about us putting something like this together, everybody ran to Google and typed in service level agreement and tried to find one. And like I said, there aren't many, if any, that where you can look and say that this is what it looks like for police or for Parks and Rec or whatever. So just to explain it, it is an outline of your basic services that you provide. So if Mr. Cullen files a police report, when should he expect a phone call back from a detective? How long should he reasonably be able to affect? And then more importantly, we want to be able to evaluate, are we hitting our marks? At the end of the year, I want to be able to say, you know, our goal was 85, 90% that we're calling folks back within this time frame. But I can tell you, this is one of the things that is, again, foreign to municipalities because oftentimes it's not something that you track in a main. So this is our catalog of a menu of services that we provide. And some of those things are fingerprinting, there are crime prevention surveys, there are our investigations. If you file a report, you should hear something back from an investigator within 5 business days, things of that nature. And so we're in this is already, we actually rolled this out in our government one-on-one session, and we will be adding this May 1 to our police department website for where we'll live. Now, I do want to highlight that this is a living document, so it will continue to be updated. Again, if you see something in there that you know, or you have a question about something, please reach out to us, because again, we want to make sure that, you know, we highlight not only what we do, but we also want to make sure that we don't miss anything. Okay. Peace Week. So in case you didn't know, for several months we had been working together with our nonprofits through Portsmouth United to put together Peace Week. Now, Cavalier Manor under Mr. Copeland had been doing Peace Week for about 5 years, 3 years, okay? So Mr. Copeland approached me with the idea of us putting something together citywide so that when our kids were out for spring break, that we would have something constructive for them to do for the entire week. And so the challenge was accepted, and we had over 20 nonprofits, departments, all partnered together all across the city to put together a week of programming, recreation, field trips, you name it. We had some students go to JMU. We had Mr. Copeland's group over at the neighborhood center. We also had Stop the Violence 757, who put on a camp. We had Mercy Chefs put on a cooking class. We had autism. I mean, it was just it was wonderful to see. Safety Town was open. They had 300 or 400 kids on one day, and I have a video that I am going to show, because me standing up here talking is one thing, but you actually seeing it is another. And this is the type of information. These are the type of things that, now don't get me wrong, we had some media time on this, but we didn't get enough media time. I need people to see the effort. People always ask, what are you doing? People always want to know what the police department, what the city is doing to combat crime. What are we doing with the kids? And I'm going to show you what we're doing, right? And I'm going to ask you to get involved. I'm going to ask you to come with your ideas and suggestions, because again, if you go back to what I said earlier, public safety is an ecosystem. It's all of our responsibility to get involved in what we're doing. So.
Peace Week 2025 in Portsmouth was more than just a calendar of events. It was a movement, a celebration of community, and a powerful reminder that peace begins with opportunity. From April 11th to April 20th, our city united to create something truly meaningful for our youth, and we did it together. Peace Week was a success, not just because of the number of events held, but because of the lives we touched, the youth we empowered, and the connections we built across the city. From leadership retreats to fitness camps, from paint and sip sessions, Peace Week delivered experiences that spoke to the heart, mind, and soul of every young person involved. Let's take a look back at some of the incredible highlights.
For the weekend, we went to JMU for the Trio Leadership Conference, and we learned a myriad of different things. One amongst which that was most important to me was that my greatness does not need approval.
We have facilitators coming in each day, Monday through Friday, to give our kids experiences and teach them and make them aware of different events and different industries. So we're just excited to be part of Portsmouth Peace Week this year as an organization, as they continue to grow, and this year partnering with Portsmouth United. It has grown to over 20 different events and programs happening this week for the kids in Portsmouth for spring break.
This week we have had an amazing autism camp. We have had many students to come and join us this week. We've had a lot of activities planned specifically to meet the individual needs. There were a lot of group activities provided, but most importantly, they were still working on their treatment goals, and we were able to have such a fun time.
We're out here part of the Peace Week, Portsmouth United, Safe Town. Has been here for 50 years. We've got an open house today, which is Tuesday, April 15th. We've got an open house April 17th from 10 to 2. We're just having 3 fun activities for all the kids that are in the local area to do. We've got horses, we've got bicycles, we've got basketball, we've got chalk art, we've got golf, get to kids. So we're just here for a free activity for the kids to enjoy while they're on spring break.
The entire city came together to give our youth one clear message. You matter, you are supported, and your future is worth investing in. As Peace Week comes to a close, we want to say thank you to every partner, parent, mentor, volunteer, and youth who showed up and showed out. This week was about empowering the next generation. And based on what we saw, the future of Portsmouth is bright, bold, and peaceful. Follow us online to see more highlights and to stay involved. Peace doesn't end here, it continues with you.
I thought that was, I thought that, yeah, and so this will be put out for all of you. Hopefully we'll get it on the city website, but when you see it, please share it. We always share the negative stuff. Let's make sure we share this, because this was indeed something positive. And as we move towards our summer months and school being out, we need to look at some ways to maybe recreate this so that we are already prepared. We need to be having those conversations again to make sure that we have something viable for our kids to do, our young adults, and even maybe some skills learning for our parents, because they need some support as well. So there's a lot of opportunity for us for wraparound services. There are a lot of different people that need support and things of that nature. And we want to do this as a community. And so again, thank you, Mr. Copeland. Thank you, Ms. Matthews, for putting this together. Thanks to all of the participants who put egos aside. And I really want to highlight that. Put egos aside, because it is very easy when you're used to doing things by yourself, for whatever reason, to get caught up with the wrong mindset. stuff like this really takes a collaborative effort for us to be successful. And so again, just thank you to everybody who worked with putting this together. All right, so as we close, I want to highlight to you again my goals. I want you to keep these fresh, and I'm going to continue to talk about them because I want you to understand what the priorities for you this year for this department is. And again, it's to reduce our overall crime by 20%, our homicides by 10%. We want to, as we continue to address our vacancies within the organization, our goal is to have a 30% reduction in those vacancies. And so, you know, one of the things that we have done with the city manager, city council, we're addressing not only potentially a pay structural plan for the city, but then some additional initiatives that are out there. The goal is to make Portsmouth Police Department the place that you want to come and work. And so I feel like we're definitely shoring our footing up on that. Since the beginning of the year, we've had approximately 90 individuals who've applied to this police department, some of them in various stages of the application process. But as the chief, that is one of the things that I've had to make sure that I keep myself on top of. I want a weekly update of where we are with the progress. You know, those things that we've done traditionally, person sends an application, we send them an email or send them a letter, no, today we're going to pick the phone up, we're going to call them, all right? We're going to invite that person to come in. I'm going to partner that person with the officer as soon as possible to be able to build some mentoring type relationships. We need to invite people in to this department. And for you as citizens, I need you all to encourage people to apply to become part of this department. And I still believe there's an incentive where you all can earn money for sending, if a person puts your name on the application for that. So again, if nothing else, for the betterment of the department and for the city, how about earning a few dollars? So the service level agreement, that's one of the things that we continue to work on. Thankfully, we have gotten that done. The accreditation part, we're far into that. Here's a very big one: reduce the recidivism of repeat offenders who law enforcement frequently encounter through prevention, intervention, and enforcement. So that's a lot. So part of that is initiatives like through Portsmouth United. Those young people who we already know tend to be problematic for us at various times, being able to plug them into services or find alternative methods for them, maybe get them a job, maybe to get them some skills training, maybe even get them back in school if they haven't graduated. But finding alternatives for us having to intervene and potentially incarcerate them if they don't want to change their ways. We're tracking mechanisms on how many individuals we continue to deal with, and part of that is understanding who they are, where they are, what's associated with it, and then what the outcomes of that is. So that is still a work in progress. Restart the police department's truck weight enforcement. So we did recently had one of our officers most recently graduate from the motor carrier school about 2 weeks ago. He has about 60 hours of credit of training, additional training that he has to do with a training officer before he will be able to do those carrier stops on his own. So if you remember, this has been something that's come up several times in City Council about the trucks coming up and tearing up the roads and things of that nature. So obviously one person isn't enough, but it is a start. And so we're going to continue to work to do our part to address that part of the situation. And lastly, obviously, the gun violence dashboard. That was one of our goals as well. And so we're well on our way to our obtaining all of our short-term goals. Obviously, our longer term goals are still our top priorities as well. So with that, I will conclude, and I will open the floor for any questions and answers that anyone may have. Yes, sir.
Can you go back one slide? When you have your goals in there, what are the action items that you're intend on 20% and 10%?
What are my action items?
What are the action items you intend to use to achieve those goals?
Well, there's a number of them. So obviously you want to do targeted enforcement when you know individuals that are responsible for your violence. Those individuals that had the propensity to be your shooters or are part of active investigation. So we want to do targeted enforcement on them, whether we're looking at old charges that they may have had in the past that may have been null pros or had the potential to be brought back. We've also looking at whether or not some of those charges may be better served for us to be taken federally as opposed to do it in the state courts. Again, the additional part of that, as I talked about, we want to try to defer some of these folks from getting wrapped up in that. So we want to ensure that we're plugging these folks in and offering them a way out through our other initiatives that are there. Again, I want to make sure that we're clear in our conversation. We want to refer people to resources if they want them. Those that do not want them, then we have to lock them up if they're going to be out committing crime. And that is our mandate and what we're supposed to be doing. So, whether today's brandishing of a firearm turns into tomorrow's grandmother's car getting shot up, which ends up weeks later being an individual that is either a victim of a gunshot wound or a homicide. So one of the things that we're doing differently as a police department, because I can tell you in the past, if a person did not want to cooperate, whether it be just, hey, who shot you? I don't know. Those things tend to return into retaliatory shootings. So one of the things that we're doing differently now is we're paying very much attention to those shootings and focusing on those small level incidents and tracking them, trying to make sure that we aren't missing a puzzle, that when we see the end result of the gunshot wound, that we miss anything, opportunity to intervene early before it turned into that. Those are just a few. To be able to lay out every single metric is almost impossible. We're going to do everything we can, even if it's just as simple as we're going to increase the traffic stops in this area with the hopes of maybe being able to get a consensual search on a car to be able to recover a stolen firearm. All of these things make a difference as it relates to police work and deterring crime. But we can't just be out stopping any and everybody with not knowing who you're doing. That doesn't serve right to the community either. We need to make sure we're going after the right people. All right. And so sometimes that does not happen. But that's on us to continue to get better with making sure we're in the right areas, knowing the people who are our offenders in those areas and how we address them. Anybody else?
Hi, Chief. I understand that the Churchland area did not participate in the Peace Week, so I would like to make sure that for Peace Week 2026, we are a participant for that week, and if you need a contact person, you can feel free to contact me.
Ms. Matthews will make sure she reaches out to you so that you are aware, and so also not only to the public, but we meet weekly as it relates to our Portsmouth United. It is an open meeting. and we encourage as many people as possible to get involved with Portsmouth United. Everybody has some level that they can play with that, whether it be, hey, I got a program. You may not have a program, but you may know somebody has a building. Is there a way we can combine those two things together? We had one young lady who had a reading program that she was starting at her church, and we were able to connect them with another person. And now that reading program they have now is Chain Breakers, and it's actually getting bigger. So these are the partnerships that we talk about formulating, and how we get better as a community and understanding our issues.
We have a program, it's called CORES, Keeping Our Youth Safe. We're just not 501(c).
Okay.
But it's a program that was started under the Ebony Heights Civic League.
Okay.
So we're definitely very interested in participating.
Okay. So I want to talk briefly about nonprofits. So nonprofits is a difficult, very, very difficult mechanism, I guess, for lack of a better word, because you are 100% dealing with donations and things of that nature. But I also want people to understand is that many of the groups who are most effective started just out of their own pocket and building those foundational things to get going. We've seen funding sources come, we've seen funding sources go, and being a vibrant 501c3 is knowing how to go out and to make those connections with not only the businesses, but also philanthropists that are looking to support different things. But we really and truly need the programs that are out there. And again, if everybody just touches one person, we can address our issues in a positive manner. So I encourage you to continue to do what you're doing. I know Ms. Matthews may be able to plug you in with someone that might be able to help you with the 501c when you're ready for that. But again, don't let that deter you from not doing it. Continue to do the work that you're doing. And thank you. I'm sorry, Ms. Washington. I know you told me earlier that make sure I repeat the question, right? It hit me right then. So I'll get it this time, but go ahead. Go ahead, sir.
Good evening, sir. The service level agreement, I understand, is new, and it's across all the different departments of the city. I'm just learning a lot about that. And do you know that if it is accompanied with a tracking system across all the city governments, that if they say this trash will be removed by this date, or someone made a call back about a report, or whatever it may be, is that being tracked in some sort of regulatory system behind it, separate from the C-Click fix?
So the question was, is there a tracking mechanism behind the service level agreements for the department citywide that we'll be able to, other than C-Click fix, all right? I do not have that answer for you. I know that we're still in the infant stages of this, and that's one of the things that we want to be able to work with. But C-Click Fix right now is for us the best way for us to track our issues and how those things are resolved. And so I do encourage folks, if you're not using C-Click Fix, please do so, because C-Click Fix does assign some level of accountability to whatever department there is to be able to address your issues. Anybody else?
Good evening, Chief.
Good evening.
How are you doing?
Yes, ma'am.
I see a lot of paper tags on cars. What is being done to curtail that issue?
So our tags just across the board are problematic. I mean, you can see hard tags with 2021, 2022, and I will tell you that we do as many traffic stops on those vehicles, frequently. But I'll also tell you that most individuals will tell you that they would much rather take the chance of getting stopped and paying the fine as opposed to being able to pay the $6,000 or $7,000 tunnel toll bill that they have. And so this is one of the cycles that we continue to deal with. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. So I can ride down the street and see 4 or 5 tags. Which one do I stop? It's not your day today. And we literally have that happening. So it is a difficult situation for some of the citizens to be in, but obviously we still have a job to do. And so we encourage our folks to get out and stop those individuals, address the behavior. Obviously we don't have a quota system or anything like that as it relates to how many of them that we're writing. Again, that is a lot of the reasoning behind not only the stolen license plates, but the expired license plates. Many people just can't afford to get their vehicles registered. And then you even have some dealers, car dealers that are selling the temporary tags. So, you can go register your car, pay $250, come back, a month later and get a new set of registered tags. I mean, this is stuff that's being played all across the state. Yeah. One of the things that, I know that we talk about as a legislative package, and we start talking about putting forth bills that we would like to either see enacted by our legislators or may potentially be reprieved. So one of the things that for us as law enforcement is that really hurt us or hindered us is the pretextual stops. Now, what does that mean? That means a person with defective equipment, tail light out, headlight out, smashed windshield, things of that nature. Now, obviously, you have 4 months on your inspection sticker and 4 months on your tags, but those things sometimes based on the totality of the circumstance, probable cause, or reasonable suspicion, individual driving through a known drug area, making frequent stops. Does that give us a reason to be able to stop that person based on the totality of circumstance, not just for the tag or for the light? So obviously now we can't do that. And so I know that a number of the chiefs across the state have been lobbying for that to be reinstated. And again, but understanding with proper training and education of the officers and the department, those are really good tools. Again, the goal is not just to utilize it to just randomly stop whoever that you want, because those things do potentially put the department and the city and everybody else just in a bad situation of feeling. But we do need to be able to have the tools necessary. It's no different than our continued conversation on our flock cameras. Some people say it's an invasion of privacy, things of that nature, but I can tell you that if your child goes missing, that is how we're going to find her, using that flock camera. I can tell you that we had one of our state delegates, I won't name him, but his father, who was suffering from earlier onset of dementia, father went missing, and they utilized the flock cameras to track him to an area and had officers be able to go there and locate him. That is the power of that equipment. And again, mechanisms for when it's properly used, show great results. And when it's misused, then we address the behavior for the misuse. If you're dumb enough to want to track your girlfriend, then guess what? We're gonna get rid of you. So we just want to make sure that we don't get the tools taken away that are gonna help us to keep our public safe. Question.
I noticed that y'all moved the camera off of Cavalier Boulevard where they was dumping all the trash. Have you seen it lately?
No, ma'am, I have not.
It is a hot mess. It looks totally like a dump site back there now.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
I don't know where all that's coming from.
Yeah,
It's bad.
Yeah, so our cameras are in hot demand, and so we continue to have to rotate. We actually are in the process of purchasing some additional ones, but we're also using some portable hidden cameras. So even though you might not see them, we're still able to get a vision, a description of the vehicle, and then utilize our technology to be able to hopefully track that down. So again, every single one that we catch, we try to prosecute. $2,500 fine for illegal dumping. We've had some success with that. And generally, when we get stuff like that, we're finding that it's our contractors and folks associated with that who've done some work for somebody, was paid for the removal, and they just take it and dump it to keep the extra cash. So, again, just one of those things that we continue to deal with. Hopefully, there's a developer, I hope, that's going to come in and do something with that here relatively soon, so that will deter some of that behavior out there. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
Is there anything that could be done about cars driving with no lights on, no dashboard lights, no headlights, no tail lights?
It's one of those pretextual stops. Normally we would be able to stop a car that's driving down the street with no headlights. When I was a young officer, especially at night, that was one of the things that we were taught there was a key indicator that a person is potentially driving under intoxicated. If you're driving at 12 o'clock and you don't realize your headlights are on, you may be intoxicated. Today, we can't stop that vehicle based off of just not having their headlights on. And that's a public safety issue. And so, at night, absolutely. That's a public safety issue. That's one of the things that our legislators decided to take out. Anybody else? All right, well, thank you all for coming this evening. I appreciate you coming. Obviously, as we've talked about before, the intention is to be able to, if you want a copy of this presentation, please make sure you scan the QR code. I'll leave it up. We'll make sure that we email you a copy of it. And obviously we are live streaming, and this will be on the city's page and the police department's page. So please share it. We want to make sure that we not only get this information out to those that are concerned, but we also want to battle the misinformation as well. So thank you again. Have a good evening.